Just a little catch up on the weekend's fights. First of all, Joseph Parker against Shaundale Winters. He managed to get the guy out of there in the 5th round. Joseph Parker, that is. It was an adequate performance, I would say. Parker, to me, didn't look spectacular. Winters, being a career cruiserweight, really, and a relatively small cruiserweight at that, did have some skills and some speed there and made it tricky for Parker at times, did nail Parker with some good shots. He's quite a slick fighter, Shaundale Winters. I was surprised, to be honest, because at 39 years of age, I didn't expect him to come with much ambition. You know, when you're dealing with a fighter like this, who's really, I guess, a fairly high-level journeyman, and I'm talking about in terms of his skill set, when they reach that kind of age, they're normally just looking for an easy night. So they want to lay down at the earliest opportunity when they get hit with anything resembling a half-decent shot. But Shaundale Winters actually came, to me, to try and win. That's what it looked like. So kudos to him. But ultimately, Joseph Parker's size, his hand speed was also good. I mean, Shaundale Winters had good hand speed, but Parker obviously is one of the faster heavyweights out there, and he's a real heavyweight. And he walked Shaundale Winters down throughout the whole fight and basically just broke him down. Continued to throw the right hand over the top, which Winters was open to because Winters is a guy who likes to use that Philly shell defense. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And particularly when he was on or near the ropes, he wasn't able to get the necessary rotation on his shoulder to block the right hand coming at him. So Parker was catching him repeatedly with the right hand over the top, which is kind of catching Shaundale Winters on the side of the head or on the ear. And there was a couple near misses earlier on in the fight. Then finally he dropped Winters. I think it was it in the 3rd round? I think it was in the 3rd round. He dropped him near the end of the round. Winters wasn't seriously hurt. Obviously he got buzzed and it was a pretty heavy knockdown, but he still had his faculties about him. He didn't get up on spaghetti legs or anything like that. The fight continued, and once again, Joseph Parker gets through with that right hand over the top in the 5th, and this time he puts his hands together, some very fast, accurate punches, which produced the finish, and Shaundale Winters was catapulted to the canvas. He nearly fell out the ring, and the referee waved it off, I think, before even reaching the final count of 10, because of how severe the knockdown was and the severity of the shots that Shaundale Winters took. So, yeah, it was what it was. Joseph Parker secures the win, and he's now looking to move on to bigger and better things. Fight the likes of Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua, Dylan White. Well, he says he wouldn't fight Tyson Fury because they're friends. I'm always disappointed to hear stuff like that, especially when the heavyweight division is so wide open as it is. And you've got a contender like Joseph Parker saying, oh no, I wouldn't fight Tyson Fury. He's my friend. Well, he fought Hughie Fury. Didn't have an issue with doing that. And he was, part of the Fury family. But won't fight Tyson. Disappointing stuff. I remember at super middleweight, there was an issue like that between Andre Ward and the Durrell brothers because they were all tight and they were all friends. They were acting like they wouldn't fight each other. I don't want to hear none of that. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear none of that. I mean, I get it to some extent, but if you've been friends maybe since you were kids or something, then maybe I would understand it more. And maybe that was the case with Ward and the Durrell brothers. I don't know. But as far as Joseph Parker and Tyson Fury, they don't know each other like that. So I don't want to hear this, so we're friends, so we ain't going to fight. No, that's nonsense. Anyway, that's a little rant about his attitude towards Tyson Fury. I want to see all these fighters fight each other in the heavyweight division. It's not like the Klitschko era where you got two brothers. And obviously, I draw the line when it comes to family members fighting each other. I definitely don't want to see that. Which is why I was dead against the Klitschkos fighting each other. Hell no. There were some people who said that they wanted to see the Klitschkos fight. Are you mad? They're brothers. It's a dangerous sport. You can get killed in there. Definitely don't want to see two brothers fight. But we don't have that situation no more. None of these heavyweight contenders and champions are related. So, and as far as I'm aware, none of them were childhood friends or anything like that. So let's get it on, man. Let's get all these guys in a Royal Rumble type situation and have them all fighting each other. So hopefully Joseph Parker can be in that mix, because I still think he's got a lot to give. I think he's got the bit between his teeth. The times when he lost against Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua, he just didn't show enough fire in those fights. I was disappointed in him, particularly in the AJ fight, but even in the Dillian Whyte fight, that he didn't try and take the bull by the horns and take the fight to the other guy. Obviously, against AJ, the referee didn't help because he was breaking him up far too quickly whenever the action started hotting up close. But against Dillian Whyte, he doesn't have that excuse. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Joseph Parker's performance against Shawndale Winters. I need to look more into Winters' career because he does have some talent there. At 39 years of age, you would imagine it's far too late for him. But there is some talent there. What happened in his career? Why wasn't he up there in the cruiserweight division making noise and what have you? Is he somebody that had a long break in his career like Amir Mansour? Did he have some kind of issues outside of the ring which prevented him from pursuing a professional career when he was younger? I don't know. Be interested to see, because as I say, he does actually have some talent there. Not the average journeyman, that's for sure. For me, this was actually the best fight on the card. I didn't watch the whole Cal Yafai Chocolatito fight. I only saw the knockout, but I did see the whole of this fight, Jay Harris versus Julio Cesar Martinez, and it was a great little fight. Personally, I really like Julio Cesar Martinez. I like his style. It's it's not typical, for a small fighter, a flyweight, to fight the way that Martinez does, relying so heavily on punching power. And he's a very unorthodox fighter. He'll sometimes switch mid-combination from orthodox to southpaw. He concentrates on hooks, uppercuts. He's explosive. He's got good hand speed, and he does damage. I really like the way Martinez fights. He's an entertaining, value for money fighter. And he has been walking through people over the past couple years. Obviously, Charlie Edwards found out the hard way how devastating Martinez can be. But Jay Harris proved that he's no Charlie Edwards. He came in there with a lot of ambition, a lot of heart, a lot of toughness. He comes from a fighting family. His dad was a professional fighter. So I can only imagine that he's been in the ring sparring and competing since he was a little boy. And as such, he looked comfortable in there. He felt comfortable in there. And so despite some rocky moments in the fight, and he obviously got dropped late, but even earlier in the fight, when he got his nose busted in the first couple rounds, he remained composed and he put some very nice punches together. Martinez is fortunate that Jay Harris isn't a big puncher or a bigger puncher, because he was being caught clean aplenty in this fight. And as I say, Martinez was walking Harris down a lot, but Harris wasn't really running like that. He was standing and holding his ground a lot, moving around the ring, but again, not excessively. He looked very comfortable in the pocket at range in any situation in the fight. He just didn't quite have enough authority on his shots to hurt Martinez, and that could have made all the difference, because hurting him could have either discouraged him, busted him up, or maybe even got him out of there. So maybe punching power is something that Harris can work on a little bit, because he's got, some nice little boxing skills there, plenty of heart. He's got the toughness. He obviously wasn't intimidated fighting a Mexican in the United States in front of a big Mexican crowd. None of that bothered him at all. So he's definitely got a future there. I would say just work on getting a bit more power in the punches, sitting down on the shots a little bit more. And who knows how far he could go. Martinez, I think, maybe is a little bit too in love with his power. Maybe he needs to work on his skills as well. I think Harris needs to work on the power. Martinez needs to work on the skills. Or perhaps he's got skills, but because he's such a puncher, he relies on power so much, a lot more than he should. So I think the right man won. I know that Harris's corner, as is typical a lot of the time when there's a competitive fight, The loser's corner is always going to say, oh, we got robbed. It definitely wasn't a robbery. One of the scorecards was far too wide, that's for sure. But the other two scorecards I thought were pretty accurate, pretty reasonable. And Martinez was the deserved winner on a unanimous decision. So, yeah, Jay Harris can come again. He definitely didn't embarrass himself out there. And Martinez remains one of my favorite fighters right now. I like the seek and destroy. I like the punching power, the unusual angles, the focus on power punching. I think he's a potential star. I mean, if you look at the Mexican fighters at the moment, or Mexican American fighters, you've got Canelo Alvarez at the top of the tree. Below Canelo, you probably have to say it's Jaime Munguia. Then you've got Ryan Garcia. And now you got Julio Cesar Martinez. Teofimo Lopez. I'm going to assume he's Mexican American, right? Am I wrong about Teofimo Lopez? Is he from somewhere else? I think he's Mexican American. But yeah, Julio Cesar Martinez, I think, can be one of them if he continues to build. Obviously, the guys at the lighter weights are not going to get as much attention as, the heavier guys. But there have been some great and very popular small Mexican fighters over the years. Obviously, Finito Lopez. He was a very popular Mexican fighter in his day. He was a straw weight. Nowadays, I think they call it minimum weight. So, yeah, Martinez with his style, being the all-action, punching power and all that kind of business, knocking people out, hurting people, I think he's going to be a favorite with the Mexican fans. So let's see how his career progresses and what he can do. Mikey Garcia defeats Jesse Vargas with a unanimous decision over 12. This was actually some pretty impressive form from Vargas early on. In the first 2-3 rounds, I've never seen Vargas look so sharp at long range. He was catching Mikey Garcia with left hooks. He was hooking off the jab very, very well. He was maintaining the distance. He was using his height and reach. He looked super focused. Maybe he was a little, I know it sounds almost like counterintuitive or oxymoronical, but maybe he was too focused, because the look on Jesse Vargas's face was so intense in the early rounds in particular. Maybe he was burning so much energy with being hyper concentrated on what he was doing that it didn't leave much for the later rounds. Now, obviously, Mikey Garcia's punches took their toll on Jesse Vargas as well. But I think that, I don't know, maybe Jesse Vargas slowed down a little bit before Mikey Garcia started finding his range and getting his shots off. Because as I say, when you've got a guy whose face is so intensely focused, can he be that relaxed? So I don't know about Jesse Vargas, his level of relaxation. There's something he might want to work on the next time he gets in there for a big fight. But I know he's obviously an experienced fighter, Jesse Vargas. I think he's a two-weight world champion. But for this one, it obviously meant a lot to him. But sometimes in boxing, you can try too hard and it can work against you. You can just be a bit too geared up for a fight. So anyway, I don't want to take nothing away from Mikey Garcia because he did find his range. He managed to get past those fast jabs and left hooks of Jesse Vargas, started timing him as the rounds wore on. Finally managed to drop Vargas. I think that was in the 6th, was it? 5th or 6th round, he dropped him. Hurt him pretty good. Vargas's legs were wobbly. And from that point on, Mikey Garcia really took over the fight. In the final round, seconds before the final bell, Jesse Vargas landed the best shots, probably, maybe not the best shots he landed in the whole fight, but some of the best shots he landed in the whole fight in the final 5 seconds of the 12th round. But it was far too little, far too late. And Mikey Garcia ended up the winner on a UD. Definitely well-deserved. Now, all the talk is where Mikey Garcia goes from here. Does he stay at 147? Does he drop back down to 140 or maybe even 135? Garcia is interested in the Pacquiao fight. And Pacquiao being a smaller man who's moved up in weight himself, I think that really interests Garcia. I think Garcia fancies that he can do something similar to what Juan Manuel Marquez did to Manny Pacquiao. I think that's why he's so interested in the fight. Because, as I say, Pacquiao's not a big guy himself. Obviously, Pacquiao's been at 140 a lot longer than Garcia has. So even though he might not be big, he's used to fighting people at that weight. So, yeah, I think that's what it's all about with Mikey Garcia, is that particular fight. And as far as back down at 140, 135, well, there's the Regis Prograis Maurice Hooker fight that's about to happen. Well, going to happen in several weeks. Perhaps Mikey Garcia would be interested in a winner of that, because that's at 140. I'm sure Mikey can still make 140 relatively comfortably. 135 is probably a stretch for him at this point, especially going all the way up to 147. Coming back down to 135, he might struggle to do that. But 140, probably be perfect for him. So, yeah, I'd like to see him in there against the Prograis Hooker winner. And then maybe even a Josh Taylor, you know. So let's see, people. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Mikey Garcia's performance, where you'd like to see him go from here. There's obviously Teofimo Lopez as well, forgot to mention. But yeah. Okay, so that concludes my post-fight or post-show recap over the weekend. Let me know what you guys think about all the fights I've spoken about here in the comment section below. It's Hatman, I'm out. Hatman merch is now available. We got t-shirts, vests, hoodies, and more. Just click the link below. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.